Third up today is acceleration, which is the rate of change of velocity, and that means that it's the gradient of a velocity time graph. This is a graph for the motion of an object in the upwards and downwards direction, and here I've decided that positive velocity is going to be moving upwards and negative velocity is going to be moving downwards. Now you can see for this graph, this object, that the slope is constant, so the acceleration of this object is constant. And sorry, I should also say positive. This is an upward slope, so that's positive acceleration. Here is the velocity time graph for a different object. And here you can see that the slope is changing. So the acceleration of the object is also changing. It is steepest right at the start there, and then it gets shallower. So the maximum acceleration is right at the start, and it's positive because the line's sloping upwards. Then it gets less and less and less until it's flat. So that's no slope, no acceleration. And then it gets steeper again, but now, so the acceleration is getting bigger again, but now it's downward sloping. So that means negative acceleration. So notice that the object is still moving upwards. The velocity is still positive. It's still moving upwards, but the acceleration is negative. The acceleration is downwards, and that's why the object is slowing down. And so that is its maximum acceleration in the downwards direction. An important example of acceleration is the acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.81 meters per second squared downwards. And what we mean by that is that if the only force acting on you is gravity, this will be your acceleration. So here's a graph of an object that only has gravity acting on it. Now on this graph, upwards is positive and downwards is negative. So that means that our acceleration needs to be minus 9.81. And you can see that that's about what it is. You can see that the slope there is about 10, minus 10, sorry. And it's a straight line because it's constant. It's always minus 10. So what this object might be is, for example, a ball thrown upwards. So if you throw a ball upwards and you launch it at 10 meters per second, so that means when the ball leaves your hand, it's traveling at 10 meters per second upwards. Then it slows down because of gravity. And at the top, as high as it's going to go, its velocity is momentarily zero, like instantaneously zero. And then it gets bigger again, but downwards. So you launch it upwards at 10 meters per second, it slows down at the top for an instant, it's 0 meters per second, and then it gets faster again in the downwards direction. So very important graph, this one. This is the graph for something thrown upwards that only has gravity acting on it. Constant gradient of minus 10.